Welcome, everyone. So, eclipse season is over, and it's coming to that time of the month where new beginnings, new fresh starts will come your way. As I'm filming this video, the new moon in Sagittarius on November 23rd is really coming to your neighborhood. And this is going to be sort of maybe a breath of fresh air, a relief, a break, an opportunity away from all the chaos, turbulence, challenges, intensity, struggle, and all that went on during the eclipse season. So we're not going to be having eclipses for quite a while. And so now it's time to put the focus on other things going on astrologically, cosmic events as we move forward. And so this is sort of, this new moon is like a Thanksgiving, around the time of American Thanksgiving on the 24th of the month on Thursday. And so, with this double Sagittarius moon, and I'm going to get into the themes, but I just want to get into the little details, just, the times when it's going to be happening, to get that out of the way. And, not necessarily because this is important. This lunation could happen, yes, on the actual day, but what time does it occur? That's the question. What time exactly? So, I've done that for the past couple of new moon, full moon, or, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse reports. And I may continue to do that. I may deviate from doing that or take a break from it. Who knows? But, I don't know what the future will hold. This is just what I think of right now as I'm sitting here and making this video at this moment, and just what's on my mind, and what feels right and what feels accurate and makes sense to do. Now, this happens at 5:01 p.m. Central Time and 6:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, those are only two times. There's UK time. There's also, Mountain Pacific time as well. And you can choose and you can sort of make sense of this through your own time zone. And you can, convert that and find out when it's going to be happening for you based upon where you live in the world. And so, the sun and moon are coming together in the sign of Sagittarius at 1 degree and 38 minutes. So it's at the very beginning of the sign, very beginning of the season. So it's just sort of a, a kickoff. But it's, more of a quieter, more content, feeling, because the moons are quiet and they are about going inward and going into reflection and quietly initiating the new brand new venture or goal or approach of way of your the way that you're really living your life. Full moons are very emotional and very the tides are high, that kind of thing, where it's very, the energy is very amped up and big and loud and wild. And full moons are about celebration and getting out, and new moons are about, again, reflections and going inward. And so, there could be, new ideas, because you have to take a look at the signs that the sun and moon, or the sign that the sun and moon is going to be conjuncting in, because that's what new moon is, when the sun conjuncts the moon and there's a shadow. So new ideas could come to the forefront of a way that you are living your life, of a path, of a destination that you're going in, of a a project or a job or a whatever ambition that you have. And it's really time to reset yourself over again. And the full moon is the climax, and then it wanes, and then you start afresh at that new moon. And so, interestingly enough, the moon comes between the earth and then, the sun, and sun moon meet up and hold hands in the same sign. So what is the new moon in Sagittarius about? Well, Sagittarius is a fire sign that really represents the adventurous and daring spirit of wanting to go beyond what you know, beyond the community, beyond the little details, beyond the, go here, go there, and explore this and do this. Small-minded. Sagittarius is big. It's about expansion. It's about traveling to another country, culture, getting, really into another way of life. And, Sagittarius is very daring, very brave, very bold. And also, there's, a bluntness to Sagittarius, where it's all about, speaking truth. This is what I see. This is what I perceive. This is how it is. And Sagittarius is like, I'm going to wake you up to the fact that you only live once and take advantage of it. And, live your life to the fullest and be free to be who you are. Make your own choices, go your own way. And, take advantage and look to all of the abundance in your life. Because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter deals with abundance. And travel. People around this time will be traveling to see their family for, Thanksgiving, and their relatives and their extended family. And so more people will probably feel the urge, the desire, the need, the calling to travel, to explore. Just this optimistic surge of, enlightenment and positivity and open-mindedness and empowerment of why not just be free. And so it's also about, expansion and growth and wisdom, and you cultivate wisdom through your years and how long you live and your experiences. And so, Sagittarius is, not to stereotype, but it's, I think of hang gliding. I think of jumping off a cliff. I think of just doing something that you wouldn't do in the past, that you didn't have the courage, well, maybe not as extreme as that, but, something, you've been holding yourself back, and now you feel this thrust of courage to act and to shoot that arrow into the sky and go forward, and go retrieve it, and, set your sights high and look upward and have a very positive mindset and outlook and, attitude to your life and how you want to manifest it and what you want to do to again, live it to the fullest. And so, and Thanksgiving does have to do with being thankful, being grateful for, there is, all that there is. But, my honest opinion of that is um, we can really be that, for those who, celebrate Thanksgiving. You really have to look into the history and the origins of how it was founded, how it came about, and what it's really about, because about gratitude and what are you thankful for, and coming together with family, and having food and saying prayers and all that. Well, you can do that really any day of the year, so why pin it down and limit it to just that day and making so much of an occasion out of it, when someone could be feeling just this surge of gratitude and peace and contentment, and all those positive feelings after or before Thanksgiving. And embrace that, invite that, welcome that in, and find acceptance in that. But yeah, you really have to get into the meaning of it. um But Sagittarius does have to do with the abundance and indulging as well. If you think about the food and Thanksgiving, the turkey, mashed potatoes, the pumpkin pie. Um, you know, it's very abundant. Thanksgiving is very linked to that, and so you're sort of um, gathering up the things that you've harvested, the fruits of your labor, of all that you've produced, and throughout that, the most part of the fall, the early and middle part, and then um, celebrating it. Um, and at the end or near the end of November. And I don't want to sound like a broken record. I mean, I've repeated this several times. Um, and I try not to talk about it all the time and when it comes up, because I don't want to be repetitive over this. But I'm going to say it, asking the question, what is there to be, grateful for, and how can you raise your frequency and vibration and see, look at the bright side of the situation and count your blessings and take note of, what do I have? Um, what can I enjoy in the present moment? Not the future, not the past, but it's about, what can I do to make myself feel happy now, from a different pair of eyes, from a different place, and seeing the nuances and seeing the complexities and the different angles to look at things, and different cultures, different ways of living, different languages, different cuisines, different sites of scenery, different styles of music, different takes on um, this video which I'm making about the new moon in Sag. Well, I recommend watching other astrologers so that you can get, to differentiate and, find the distinctions and the beauty and the individual variety and content of the individual videos. And I have a post about that, I think. Don't know if it's out. Maybe it'll come out some other time. No guarantees on that, but I'm just, again, saying it now. But so, rising above the minutia, you know, choosing to not, work yourself and work at it, but just choosing to surrender and be calm and bring yourself into a state of peace and presence, and rise above the fray and see life from a bigger perspective, a bigger picture. Like if something goes wrong, if there's a missed detail here, if I would if you weren't happy or satisfied or enjoying yourself, or giddy or free or present, or um, you know it you know getting and certainly, I can relate to this, getting caught in the little details, the flaws of what's wrong, of, what I was thinking, how I was feeling, how I wasn't, totally, or just even decently enjoying a situation, and seeing it from a bigger perspective, of seeing the good within something and finding perspective. And sometimes when you get away from it, you come back, and later on in retrospect you see it differently. And well, it was fun. There was a lot of food, family members, and whatever it is for you, whatever it means for you, whatever your experience or story or narrative or situation that occurred in your own life, or that will occur, or that is occurring. Um, and so, the aspect with this new moon is, dealing with the personal planets. And so the personal planets are Mercury, Venus, and Mars, but we're looking at Mercury and Venus. They are conjuncting. And when Mercury is a planet of communication, how you speak and how you communicate, and what you want to communicate out to others, and whatever sign it's going through, it shows what is our mental focus, and how does it make sense for us to view life and communicate this issue, and what issues do we feel important to communicate, make sense of, and to, um, really put in a lot of thought about. And Venus's love, its beauty, it's kind, it brings people together, it's harmony, it is balance, and Venus energy is very open-hearted energy, um, and kind energy. Peaceful, fair, diplomatic, all that. And this is a wonderful aspect to show love to someone. Either buy them a Hallmark card, give them a present, or anything that you can do that can show that you appreciate them. Just by giving them your presence and your attention, and just smiling at someone and lightening up their day. Or it could be spending time with them physically, online, going out and doing things with them. And really, sometimes it doesn't matter what you're doing, but maybe the fact that you're spending that quality time with them, and show love, connection, and affection, generosity, caring, and show that person how much they matter to you, and all that they've done for you. And it's wonderful for making them feel loved and seen, heard, understood. And it's very social. Mercury conjunct Venus is just a social portal opening. And communication may be very fair and diplomatic. You may feel the yearning, or you may feel that it's right to just be more considerate and open, and open to listening and hearing the other person talk, hearing them out, seeing from their perspective, not getting into a fight, but responding to things rather than react to things, and have a fair, back-to-back conversation and learning new things from that person. One size doesn't fit all. One size doesn't fit all. It's not, the same side of the coin. Everyone has their own things to, their own wisdom, knowledge to teach, their own experiences, and their own, um, of something that they have to offer, and everyone is special and unique in that way, in other ways. And, because it's in Sagittarius, it's wonderful for, laughing and having a party with that person, and, traveling, going on an adventure um, with that person, learning new things with that person, not doing things totally solo, but, doing something very collaboratively and bringing that person on for a new quest and adventure, to offer wisdom to others and to receive wisdom from other people, and to really use that and grow, and yeah, opening yourself up to that, opening your heart and your mind up to that. And interestingly, on the same day, Jupiter decides to go direct in Pisces. So it's a moving forward. Jupiter's moving forward. So new and expansive opportunities for a lot of growth, travel, higher learning. All those Jupiter-related themes, taking life by the horns, charging forward, taking risks. That's another thing with Sagittarius. And Jupiter is in Pisces, which deals with, compassion and, unconditional love and empathy and beauty and, surrender and all the themes that I spoke about on my Jupiter and Pisces video that you can go watch. And I may put the link and put the video up in a card, or so that you can access it. But anyway, that is my video on this new moon in Sagittarius. I really, really hope that you enjoy. For those who celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. This is sort of around that time, and it really fits very well into the themes of Thanksgiving. Because the word itself, Thanksgiving, and that is Taurus, but it's also Sagittarius, because it is about celebration of life. Sagittarius, and Leo as well. Sagittarius, Jupiter, same thing spoke about. I don't want to repeat myself, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I would highly recommend it. Like this video so that the algorithm can show it to more people so it can get out. Share it if you think that others would benefit from this information, and turn on your notification bell so that you see upcoming videos from me. And also, I would really highly recommend following my community posts, because I'll post a lot in there, probably quite often, announcements, video recommendations, astrology, spiritual messages, and other things as well, quotes even. There's so much in there, so you definitely want to follow me and check out those posts as well, since YouTube is making it more fair and more horizontal and equal now, with the community tab getting out to more channels. And I am very thankful that I have this very simple and practical feature that I can use now. And I certainly don't want to brag, and I don't want to be unfair for those who don't have it, but I do want to acknowledge that I am, very glad that I have this. And so anyway, that's what I want to say, and enjoy.